Hey everyone, Paul and Lucas, we're going to go over our Kanban system at FastCap. It is incredible. We're going to take you through all the nitty gritty, but first we want to give you an overview. We have color-coded Kanbans for every different kind of segment of production in our company. We're going to walk you through every one of them, and we have one anomaly, one odd one that's a different size because it's in the printing area, and you'll see how that works in a minute. But if you want to understand Kanban, stay tuned with Lucas and Paul because we're going to blow you away. It's an incredible system.
Okay, people want to know how our Kanban system works. This is shipping, but all these orders have to be pulled. They come over here to what's called grocery. This is our grocery aisle. It's just like a little shopping center. You come in here and everything is Kanban. So check this out. Right here, if you take this KISS drill bit system, you have to pull that Kanban card. That Kanban card then goes in this Kanban slot right here. It has a light to indicate to the water spider that there's something that needs to be done. So when I stick a card in here, boom, that lights. See that light? The water spider gets queued up. They retake this Kanban, which is a piecework Kanban. It's where we put together, assemble, box, do whatever. Everything in here is Kanban. There's a Kanban for everything we do. We never run out of anything. We have 0 back orders, 800 products, because everything is managed through a Kanban system. Now, we have different color Kanbans. Green are piecework. Now we're gonna go back to the piecework area where that gets delivered, and you're gonna see how all that works. So back here is, we call this production or piecework, and there is a piecework Kanban board right there. So you can see the entire burden of the company right here. So you can see it's very low. There's not much work to do. That's why there's not many people in all these production cells. There's nobody here because there isn't any burden. The minute the burden goes up, everybody comes rushing over here. Now we're gonna take a look at a typical production cell or piecework cell where we make the products. Okay, Lucas is going to show us how the whole system works. Go for it.
All right, so we're at the production board. Everything gets laid out by priority. So when I walk up, I want to grab the top left card. That's the highest priority. So this one's for me to build Q trim. I'm going to go to the station where it is. On this card, it tells me everything I need to know. So it's got an orange dot, says orange bin. I know I need to go right there and grab my orange bin to build the product into on my way to the station. Then it tells me I'm gonna build 30 of them go in one bin. And then it also tells me time to beat per part, and it has the record, fastest time ever and who did it. So I can ask them for tips, how to get better. Then on the back, it has a QR code. This will take you to a process video, shows everything you need to know to build it from setup to cleanup, process, everything there is to know. So when I walk up to build it, I put this up here. We got a spot for everything. Everything always goes in a spot, no ambiguity at all, ever. And so standing here, I'm building, say I run out of these blue bodies right here. Well, when I empty this box, it says right underneath this, we call it a crumb trail, restock at 045, 135, 11. So that's our rack location. I'll show you, that means we're in aisle 4. We come down, all the racks have numbers on them, increasing in order, 115, 125, 135. Here's my tag, 04, 135, 11. It also has a sign here. This lets me know that these are not in the inventory system. This pallet is okay for me to pick off of. Everything we do here, we're gonna pick left to right, front to back. So when I go to get a new box, I'm gonna grab this one right here. And this one actually has a yellow Kanban on it. Yellow Kanban means it requires a machine to make it. So these parts we're injection molding here. So this goes back to our injection molding department the minute I pull this box, and I'll deliver this card as I bring this box over to the station.
And we're going back to injection molding in a few minutes to show you that and how that Kanban system works. But first we're going to show you crumb trails, which will blow your mind.
So everything here, absolutely everything is crumb trailed. So anything I run out of, it says right underneath. So if I run out of O-rings here, underneath in O-rings POP, I look right underneath me, Q trim O-rings. I get them right here. I pull them out. It's divided. The Kanban's turned in right now, but we have some in front and the Kanban in the back always. So there's always enough.
So we know the Kanban's been turned in because the Kanban area is empty and the card would be there, and Alicia turned that in already.
Yep, and then everything else here too. So screws, if I need more, they're underneath the 50-piece clamshells. My 50-piece clamshells are right here to build. So right underneath them, that's where I get the screws. And if this whole box runs empty, there's a crumb trail for those too. Tells me to go to aisle 3, 115, 32 for another box. Never wondering. And so then if I'm working along here and I run out of labels, they're also crumb trailed right below me here. So I know to go to this box, quad trimmer inserts. And if this was empty and I pulled through and I had to go into the back part here, right now we're not that low, but there is an orange Kanban card. So the minute I have to open this bag, I pull my orange Kanban card. There's enough in this bag for me to finish the build, so I don't have to interrupt my flow. I grab these out, I use them. This card immediately goes up here with my other card. Then when I'm done building, when I go to put my other card in the finish slot, I have this orange card that tells me I need to go print more inserts so it's ready for the next person who walks up to build.
The important thing is you're thinking of the next person.
Yep.
Now, the interesting thing is the green one originally, when you do the build, it's gonna go, we're gonna first now go to the printer area and show you where we print everything and how that's managed, but let's show them where the green one goes after they built that, because it goes in these orange bins over here.
Yes, my build with my green Kanban card. I have my orange bin here, Q Pro trim. It has the date that I built it on. It has my initials that I built it. And it goes on this finished product pallet right here. I put the Kanban in the slot in the back of the bin as it goes on the pallet, so the water spider can take this pallet through the grocery aisle and restock everything that was built into grocery.
And we have different size bins, one for larger products and this is for smaller ones, and that's a blue bin.
Yep, and every card tells you what that product should get built into. Also, at the end of every build, before I finish,
So the orange dot, our product, indicates color code, whether it's an orange bin or a blue bin.
Yep.
No, there are no questions here.
No, clear visual, you don't even have to read the words, it's easy. And every time I finish one, there's
It's
a
like Paul
spreadsheet we
Akers
have
simple.
here.
It's like, yeah, I failed in everything in school. I could do this. Go ahead.
So there's a spreadsheet, it records everything, so when I'm done building, I can come here, I dink my UPC,
Dink.
and it takes me to the Q Pro trim, and here we record all of the builds. We also have notes, you can see right here. This is the date at which we started marking the blades. We put a mark on the blade as we build so that we're checking a physical feel that the blade is put in the correct direction, it's not upside down, and it's there. And so whenever we make big improvements, we note those in here so we can go back and we can see if our times are improving based on our improvements for the same people now versus in the past. So every build when I finish, I come in here to the spreadsheet, find the empty cell, and I'm gonna enter my initials, the date I built it on, and the time it took me to build it, so we have data of everything, we know our improvements are working. So I just finished building my Q trims, and I pulled that orange Kanban when I was building, so now that I'm all done with my build, the next thing I do is I come to the graphics department to make more labels. So when I come to graphics, this is for Q trim, and it's got a barcode on the bottom, so I walk up to the graphics computer, we have an archive of all of our different labels here, so I click in the search, and then I'll just scan, and it brings me straight to Q trim.
No way, you got it scanned too there.
Yeah, oh yeah, of course, it's way faster. So Q trim,
No mistakes, okay.
that too. Q trim here, it tells me right in here, it's gonna be on paper 1.2.3, tells me the same thing on the Kanban card, so I can make sure that that's right. And,
Rack one, row, everything's there.
and this one also tells me that that's an auto tray, meaning I don't even have to put any paper in because the most used ones are automatically already in the preset trays.
So we let anybody use this $250,000 printer.
Oh, yeah.
Anybody can come over here and use it.
Yeah, and then if it was something that's not automatically in there, it tells me rack 1, row 2, column 3. So I come, there's rack 1 and rack 2, rack 1, row 2, and column 3. So I'd be right over here. This is the paper I would grab and put it in. And for all of these sticker labels, they go straight into the bypass tray right here. And we have a system here too, so you can't put it back wrong. If I pull these, I'm not gonna count out exactly my 35 sheets or whatever it is I'm printing.
Takes too long.
Instead, I pull this forward, so it's clear visual. That's the one I pulled out of. And then
No
I'm just
way you
gonna
could make a
take
mistake in
an
putting them
entire
back in the
brief
wrong
out
spot.
Like this, stick them in, let it print, and then when it's done, whatever's left over goes back in the one that's sticking out. And then once I put it back in, I push it back in. So that's where those large orange weirder Kanbans come from that you saw, so that they don't get missed in these entire reams of paper. We have entire sheet big orange ones. So these are the external cards to reorder paper. They're different than the rest of our externals.
But technically we could have put the same size card in there, but the reason why when you look at the reams, you can visually see without a
From the
doubt
outside, where
everything
the Kanban
that's
is.
Kanban.
Yeah.
So that's why we made that one anomaly, which is not normal lean Kaizen practice. We want to standardize everything. We did make an exception occasionally. The Toyota production system needs to be a flexible system based on your needs. So don't get too rigid, but ideally standardization.
Yep.
And also photographs showing what the whole cell needs to be set up like, a sample of the product. Everything is managed through crumb trails. everything is managed through Kanban. Now show us how the water spider Kanban works, which is a blue one.
So water spider is someone who makes sure that everybody has what they need when they need it all the time. You can think of them as a big spider with 8 legs sitting on the top of the building, just moving things around so they're always where they need to be always. So water spider cards are blue. These are cards that indicate that product needs to get moved from one location to another to make flow better for everybody else. So you can see here, I have 2 different cards. One of them has a green dot on it. The green dot indicates that you don't need the forklift. You're good to go. This pallet's on the floor. You can just walk down the aisle and grab the stuff. If it does not have a green dot, it needs to get put up for the forklift to pull a pallet down. So if it has a green dot, it'll get sorted to right here where the water spider Kanbans all go. And then the water spider will come into aisle 3. And on the back, it tells him where to go. He'll go to 03 265 11. He'll come to 03 265.1.1. 03 265.1.1, and I want Kaizen knife thin. Yes, this is the pick pallet for Kaizen knife thin. So I come down here and I would grab 2 boxes off this pallet here, and then I'll bring them over to grocery. I'll show you that now. And he's gonna grab 2 boxes off that pallet. He's gonna bring them to grocery, and he's gonna put them at 425.4.4.
System. What are
So I
we?
got my 2 boxes of Kaizen knife thin, came to the grocery aisle. You can see I got a big tag here. This is 425. They all go in order, 425, 435. So I'm putting this at 425.4.4. So rack 1, 2, 3, 4. 4th one in, Kaizen knife thin. Yep, and yeah, it's low. I need some more. So I take a UPS pouch here, peel it off, and put the Kanban in the pouch.
For the water spider.
For the water spider. And this gets stuck right over the seam on the box. You cannot open the box without cutting that card in half. And then I'm just gonna put these up in. It says my Kanban should be 1 box. So I want that to be the first box I put in, so it's the last thing pulled. I put it up there, so you see the Kanban immediately when it gets pulled forward, nothing hiding. And I put my second box in as well in front of that. And then the rest of the product ready to pick. And now when we get down to that last box, it'll get pulled again and the process repeats.
And that card will go in the Kanban
Right
for
here
the
in
water
Kanban
spider.
slot. And when cards go in these Kanban slots too, so the water spider doesn't have to go around and check all the slots all the time. They have light sensors, so when I drop the card in, light lights up on the post, and the water spider can see that from back in production and know there's a card for him
And
to
we
come
made
grab.
this whole system. Everything's
Yep.
very simple. Kaizen foam, a little micro switch in there. Nothing
Costs about $10 to put each light
nothing
together.
fancy about anything we do. We make
We had a
everything.
guy here last week trying to sell us a light alone for $100 each with little radio transmitters. No, $10 everyone. If it does need a pallet pulled down by the forklift, it'll get put up on the aisle that it's at. So this one's for aisle 4. So you can see this is aisle 4 right here. So this is the slot for all the cards that need to get pulled from aisle 4. So as the forklift works its way from aisle to aisle, when he pulls into aisle 4, everything he needs to get out while he's in there is right here. Then he'll
Genius.
grab all his cards
Oh my
out.
gosh,
and
that's so
before he comes
cool.
down the aisle, he'll get on the forklift here, and you should come over here so you can see how it works. So in our inventory system, we just scan the part number right there, and it's gonna pull up a list right here. This is all the pallets I have, and they're in order by date of when they were received and by time actually. So the first one here is the oldest pallet. It tells me to go to 04 190.2.2 and pull that pallet down and
So
out.
primarily this is just for first in, first out. It's not to manage the inventory.
Right.
Right.
It just makes sure we pull them all in the right order because we have a physical external red Kanban card that says when we get to a certain level, we need to reorder. So we need to pull the pallets in the first out or first in, first out order so that we're hitting that red Kanban card at the right time.
So for clarity's sake, red is external vendor.
Yep.
Got it.
And that's the system for water spider cards.
Okay, and then you're going to drive this beautiful, fantastic unit down the rack and grab what we need.
Yes, I am.
Notice the lights on for safety to tell everybody this aisle is being occupied now by the narrow aisle unit. And it's just an amazing unit. It works so good. And then he's going to get his stuff. So notice how we multi-use everything. We're using the inventory locations for all of our production cells for everything we make. It's very cool, very flexible, and allows us to add cells as we add products. It's just incredible the way it works. What are you showing me now?
So now we're down the aisle. We're at 04 190.22 where it said to go to pull our pallet of PSSR 16s. So once I get to that location, you can see the location's right there. I know this is the right one. It matches exactly. So I just hit the remove button here, and then super easy to pull it out. No mistakes possible. Everything's scanner. So we have a tag on every pallet. I dink product number, rack location, quantity I'm removing, and I even have a barcode here that cheats and removes it, so it's done in the system. Then all I have to do...
You don't even have to use your mouse.
Don't even have to use the mouse. Mouses are slow. Grab my pallet here.
Notice the yellow stripes, which indicate areas that you cannot be when the unit comes out. And then he'll just set that off to the side right there so we can get into it.
So in order to save time of the forklift driver, because they have containers to unload and lots of stuff to forklift, the forklift driver is just retrieving stuff out of the aisle, and then the water spider will actually go put it in grocery, open the pallet up, and get it all ready for the picker to grab stuff off. So once I've pulled this pallet of PSSR 16 as the forklift driver, I come right here, I have a slot for cold product Kanbans. That means that this stuff is sitting out on the floor, ready to go immediately to grocery, so it doesn't have a green dot, but it's already retrieved.
So that means the water spider now is queued up to come over to this pallet and get it into the right location in the grocery store.
So he'll come over, he'll open it, take the strapping off, take the plastic wrapping off, bring it into grocery, and reset the Kanban, so when we get low again, we know to replenish it again.
And they'll reset the green Kanban, correct?
Blue.
Oh, in this case, it's going to be a blue one.
Yes.
Okay, because it's something that we're not actually physically making here.
Right.
Very important point. In the past, we've had other people set up our Kanban system, but it never worked very well. And then you came in and took it all over. And what is the difference?
The difference is you don't have to remember anything, and there's no manual entry, so literally there's no room for error. In the past, we've had it where when you received something, you had to actually know the part number, and we'd write it on there by hand and type it in the computer by hand. And if you remembered wrong and you had straps hyphen backpack and then put backpack straps in the next time, you'd never find the stuff, and you had to remember what you put it all in as. And when you came to put pallets in or take them out, it was all manual entry. You'd have to look at just this one big number. You'd have to say this product as at what aisle am I? 275.1.2.1. And it was really easy to mess that up, accidentally type 0.2.2 or accidentally type aisle 4 instead of aisle 3.
So in order to do this, you had to slow way down and pay attention to all the details so we could go way fast.
Yeah, and basically poke-yoke. I tried to eliminate anywhere where you could make a human mistake.
But you eliminated a job. You eliminated your job, kind of, didn't you?
No, not really.
Why not?
Because my job's always to solve problems, and there's always going to be problems.
That's
This just
right.
used to be the biggest
That's right.
problem. Now there's new biggest problems. I promise. There's always problems.
Incredible. So now we're back in CNC and injection molding. The Kanbans get delivered right here. Skyler picks them up, takes them back to injection molding, and then puts them on his board in the queue in the order he's doing them. He makes them right here in injection molding, boxes them back up, delivers them back to the piecework area where they pull it. And so those Kanbans just keep cycling back and back, round and round, whether they're green, whether they're yellow, whether they're red. These are external Kanbans. So this is an external Kanban. It's red. This is the outside vendor that we buy this colorant from. All the information's on there, when we buy it, who to take it to. All the detailed information is there. It's an incredible system. Our entire company is managed by Kanbans, every last detail.
Okay, so that's the Kanban system at FastCap. We developed this system based on all of our experience in Japan. Lucas has been to Japan twice, to Lexus, to Toyota, tier 1, tier 2 supplier. It's not exactly the way Toyota does it, but it's really close and it works really well. Any last parting comments to our people?
It's perfect. It makes it easy. Every system's going to vary for everybody. You can't copy our exact system and have it work perfectly for you, but this works perfectly for us. And if you look at why, you'll be able to come up with a system that works perfectly for you.
Thanks a lot.